All right, so in that last video, we set up this green screen. We're passing in this uniform uColor1, and we're passing in these position attributes. So the uColor1, the uniforms, go to our fragment shader, the attributes to our vertex shader. But there's also a value that can go, or a type of a variable that can go between these shaders. So if I want to get position data into my fragment shader, inside my vertex shader, I can say varying vec2 uv. And so now I've declared this varying, and the varying will go between my vertex shader and my fragment shader. And in my main function, I'll just say uv equals position. So now I'm putting that data for my position data into my uv varying, and the uv varying I can bring into my fragment shader. And we'll say varying vec2 uv. And now that uv, those position coordinates are available to me as either uv or uv.x. And there's a very, very helpful built-in function in GLSL that's called mix, that'll allow me to mix. Actually, no, we're not going to mix just now, are we? We're gonna say, yeah, we'll mix. We'll say I'm going to bring in another uniform vec4, and it's going to be called uColor2. And then we're going to make an output vec4 color and set it equal to the output of a mix of uColor1 and uColor2. And to start with, we'll just give it a 50-50 percentage. So let's look at that. We'll change this uColor here to color. So now we've created a new vec4 color that's a mix of these two colors, one of which I just realized I haven't brought in yet. So I need to do that in here. I need to say uColor1 and uColor2. Now I've got uColor1 and uColor2, and in my fragment shader, I'm bringing in a mix of those two colors. And I need to put my semicolon. And there's no mix happening because they're both the same color. So let's change that. One's going to be blue and one's going to be green. And now we get this 50-50 mix of those colors. And here in my fragment shader, I can change that to 0.1, more green, more blue. But what if we use that varying UV? We'll say UV dot X. And why is that not working? Varies of the same name but different type. Oh. UV equals position. Get our position. Bring it into frag. UV not declared in fragment shader. Varying vec2 UV. That's unusual. be just that I need to make sure this is between 0 and 1. And so we'll say, let's add 1.0 to this and divide it by 2.0. Let's see if that fixes things. Nope. That's very odd. I forgot to save this document. Yeah, I just forgot to save that document. So I'm going to keep going, even though that was kind of a little snafu. Maybe it's helpful to see that I also make mistakes. And so you can see now I've actually, in the course of sort of debugging that, I also normalized this value, which was between -1 and 1, and now it's between 0 and 1, because I added 1 and divided by 2. And you'll be doing a lot of that with shader language, where you're kind of transposing values into other coordinate systems. And so that's our gradient. We've got a mix of these two colors based on this coordinate here. And I can change that to the other direction. And I could also make it more weird. All right, there's all kinds of stuff we can do with this math. And if you spend some time with the Book of Shaders, it's really pretty fun playing with all these possibilities. And in this Book of Shaders, you can see here's, a more complicated function. There's a lot of stuff we can do with, just the fragment shader and just some simple values. We can also make shapes, and I'll do that in another video. I think even though this one was a little, maybe at some point I'll go back and redo this. But the next video, what I want to do is bring in a time value so we can get some animation happening with this. And I'll see